Some of the world's oldest railway systems are found here in the United Kingdom. Today, I feature for the first time on my channel what it's like riding one of these trains in the UK. I have never ever drank so much tea in such a short time. So let's get our bladders ready and begin this video right now.
Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a
And g'day guys, welcome back to my video, and I'm coming to you from King's Cross Station here in London. And I'm off to Edinburgh today, riding the LNER train in first class. So come along with me and let's see what this experience is gonna be like. Let's do this.
Everybody just do your thing.
If you're new to my channel, my name's Ryan. Born and bred in Singapore, I now call Australia home, and I create heaps of travel and food-related content. This trip sees us set foot in 5 countries over the course of 2.5 weeks. We stop in China for a first glimpse into an often misunderstood country. And then we set off to the UK, where we'd spend most of our time in Scotland as part of a wedding party. And what an eventful week that was! We then make our way towards Scandinavia, stopping in Denmark, and I pay homage to Sweden, because every person alive needs to visit the ABBA Museum, and know that the meatballs you have in IKEA taste nothing like the ones in Sweden. We make a brief stop in Finland, before heading back to the UK for our extremely long flight back home. This travel series will be filled with flight reports, destination vlogs, and a train journey thrown in for good measure. And these videos will be linked in the description as and when they're published. So make sure you hit the subscribe and the bell icon so you won't miss the next episode coming up. Giving me a like is a good way to support my channel. So here's the thanks, because it's very much appreciated. 2 of London's most prominent railway stations are situated side by side, and they're only linked by the King's Cross St Pancras Underground Station. To the left, you'll have St Pancras International. As the name suggests, handles train services across the English Channel towards Europe, and a handful of regional trains within the UK. We're departing from King's Cross Station, which handles more regional train services towards destinations like ours today, Edinburgh in Scotland. Opened in 1852, King's Cross, together with St Pancras next door, plus the underground station of London's Tube network, collectively form UK's largest and busiest transportation hub. This sounds incredible, especially when you look back to as recent as the late 20th century. This station was considered one of the seediest in London, known for its rundown buildings, prostitution at the main entrance, and rampant drug use, which made the surroundings very unsavory. By the time Y2K came about, a humongous restoration project has since cleaned this all up, and it is today one of the world's most beautiful train stations, successfully marrying the old and new into this absolutely stunning architectural masterpiece. The Harry Potter franchise also heavily leans into this station for inspiration, further underlining King's Cross's standing in modern-day pop culture. For the journey this morning, we're traveling in first class, so ticketed passengers get access to a lounge. The entrance isn't immediately obvious because I thought it was a converted storeroom, which used to house a lounge. But the motion-activated lights within will guide you to an elevator that takes you to the upper level where the actual lounge is located. It is a nice enough area with provisions of simple cold drinks, small packets of snacks, and the usual tea-coffee. While it is a tranquil area to hang out, I was in the mood for people watching, so I mostly hung out in the public waiting areas of the station's central atrium downstairs. At King's Cross Station, passengers aren't allowed into the boarding platforms until 10 minutes before departure. So before that, everyone just stares at the departure boards like a zombie until countdown to 0. Then the mad rush begins towards the scanning gantries. Unlike Harry, Hermione and Ron, we did not have to run into a brick wall to access the platform. Entry is done by scanning your boarding pass's QR code, which then allows you access. And here we are, the LNER's rolling stock taking us on this cross-border journey towards Scotland. This is a Hitachi-manufactured Azuma Class 800 train, which began service here in the UK from August 2017. It has an operational speed of between 200 to 230 km per hour. On entry into the first-class carriage, you're met with luggage racks on both sides for those heavy ones. Or you can choose to store them up in the overheads if the bags are small enough. The upholstery is very stylish in this dark maroon, which offsets very well with the light beige and grey walls. And the entire cabin is bathed in this warm white lighting, which is very relaxing. The seats itself are relatively cushy, configured in a 2x1 facing both directions of travel, with enough padding at the right spots to cradle you nicely. I've chosen the airliner seats, which comes in a pair, and the tray table is permanently fixed in this position. The recline function is stock standard European style, which means only the bottom cushion slides forwards, pulling everything else above with it. So you slouch rather than recline. The first class ticket includes a meal, and the photos do indeed look very inviting. But scanning the breakfast options, I cannot help thinking we might have been shortchanged looking at how tiny the options seem to be. Look at the choices for lunch and dinner. They do seem a lot more substantial. Feel free to pause and have a longer look at the menu options. This is an assigned seat service, so above each seat, there is an information panel which tells you what's available from whichever station. This is very useful when you want to switch your seats, and knowing me, I cannot sit still on a daytime journey like this one. On the dot at 7:30 AM, we started pulling away smoothly from our location. So if you were busy geeking out at Harry Potter Easter eggs all around this station, just too bad. When I started researching into train services between London and Edinburgh, I thought LNER was called LNER, which is such a cool name for a train service, until I discovered it wasn't called that. So my next thought was it's called something trendy like LNER. But then I was told in no uncertain terms it's simply known as LNER by its initials, which stands for London North Eastern Railway. Our train journey will cover most of England before crossing the border into Scotland, covering a distance of 534 kilometers, clocking a total journey time of just under 5 hours. As we settle in for our morning service to the land of the Tartan Army boys, the fantastic service from these attendants come to the forefront. Smiles are generous and demeanor extremely personable, as they come around to take our orders for breakfast service. And so it begins with tea number 1. Following closely after our orders were taken was the drinks cart where we could choose a full range of bevies on offer. Don't think there was alcohol though for this morning service. Damn it, isn't it 8 PM in New York right now? Bevies were also served with these delicious packets of shortbread, which you could ask for as many as your tummy could handle. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. The Western practice of a continental breakfast is never in my vocabulary. My Asian palate dictates that every single meal needs to have something warm and cooked. So I went for the bacon roll. I might be biased, but I think Australia has some of the best bacon in the entire world. And everything else just pales in comparison. So I find English bacon a bit meh for me, but I'll make do because when in Rome. This bacon roll hardly tickled my tummy, so I was still very hungry after this. But after arrival into Edinburgh, I had a full afternoon ahead of restaurants I had planned to conquer. So I decided to pace myself and dug into my sinful packet of orange chocolate cake bites from Waitrose. Oh my god, these are so good, which explains why I'll keep buying them whenever I come to the UK. Our first stop for this service was in the town of Peterborough. This city is one of the most economically successful in Britain, with lower than average unemployment rates compared to the national average. Today, much of Peterborough's growth has been driven by migration, and it is also home to UK's largest concentration of Italian migrants going back several generations. And with this, we pull into Peterborough Station at 8:15 a.m. With breakfast service over in such a jiffy, the cabin is now all relaxed and quiet, and in the harsh daylight, we get to explore the cabin and see what we perhaps could not earlier on. Like these charging ports available at all seats, so you won't have to worry about running out of juice for your precious devices. And randomly strewn about on the floor under certain seats were these headrests. It took me a while to realize what they were, but it seems they've all been removed from our seat bags and placed into storage, or so they thought. And it looks like the cabin could do with a bit of a deeper clean as well. Just about an hour later, we found ourselves pulling away from Doncaster. Some notable TV presenters have come from here, like Jeremy Clarkson of Top Gear and The Grand Tour, and one of the hosts of Queer Eye, Tan France. As the journey continues, I cannot help but feel the pre-recorded announcements on this train were done by Joanna Lumley. Every time that voice came on, I felt an instant calm wash over me.
Hello, and welcome on board this LNER Azuma to Edinburgh Waverley. We will call at York, Darlington, Durham, Newcastle, Alnmouth, and Edinburgh Waverley.
As we pulled away from every station, the drinks cart would appear with an attendant offering more snacks and drinks. So I think it's the perfect time for tea number 2. Although I was really tempted to ask for some more of that bacon roll. Out in the open country, the average speed we clocked today was around the 200 mark, which I thought was comfortable enough as the bumps were gentle. However, this ride quality isn't as smooth as the trains in Italy, nor is it anywhere near the buttery silky smooth of the KTX high-speed train in Korea. Because this is my teacup with the train travelling at full speed. Now compare this to the mineral water bottle you see there at 350 km per hour between Seoul and Busan. The difference is pretty stark, considering how old the KTX trains are compared to these Azuma trains. These train journeys allow me to see beautiful towns I otherwise would not have, like this one here. The town of Durham has a population of around 50,000, and its entire town centre, dominated by the Durham Cathedral you see there, has been designated a conservation area. There are over 630 buildings and structures in Durham which fall under this protection, and close to 600 of these alone are within this frame here. And with this, we pull into our next stop at Durham Station. The train is now crawling very slowly over the River Tyne as we pull into the city of Newcastle. Because we've arrived too early, so we shall get a little bit more time to enjoy this view that little bit longer. There is something so relaxing about looking at bridges spanning over bodies of water. Welcome to Newcastle, a thriving city with a population of just over 307,000 people. If you're a follower on my socials, you know I love to eat. And some of the best sausage rolls I've ever had is actually from Greggs, which is a bakery chain, and I never fail to get at least one whenever I visit the UK. Guess what? The origins of Greggs began right here in Newcastle. And during this week in England and Scotland, let's just say a couple of these Greggs delights ended up in my tummy. Formerly opened by Queen Victoria in 1850, Newcastle Station remains an essential part of the city's transportation network. This station is one of the more unique ones I've ever been to because the platforms are curved across the entire length of this structure. As we pull out of Newcastle, a short distance away, we might spy on something a little familiar. Oh my, is that a shrunken Sydney Harbour Bridge right there? You're not wrong for thinking that, because this bridge was designed by the same engineers, and this one here was opened in 1928, a couple of years earlier than her larger Aussie cousin. Out of Newcastle, of course, the most friendly staff came around again, and you almost felt bad for turning them down. So here I go with tea number 3. The journey around here inches closer to the coast, and this was a great time to switch seats to take in all the views. We passed quaint little villages and cute little train stations zipping by so quickly past our windows we would have missed them by blinking. The final stop on this journey was in the coastal village of, let me try and say this without twisting my tongue in a knot, Alnmouth. Alnmouth? Alnmouth. So as we journey our way on this final sector of a non-stop ride towards our destination, we also zip past the beautiful town of Berwick-upon-Tweed. And this has to be one of the more picturesque moments on this trip. I mean, look at that view. Doesn't this feel like a ride in a theme park? Of course, at this point, the staff came down the aisle one last time, emphasizing they were closing up and taking final orders. And I did not say no to tea number 4. Shortly after this, we were inching closer and closer to the border. And before you could even reach to scratch yourself down there, we have officially crossed from England into Scotland. So this is also the perfect time for me to sum up my thoughts about riding the LNER from London's King's Cross to Edinburgh Waverley. I did have several parts of this journey which did bug me a little, but I would not call it a deal breaker. So please, humor me for a bit. The meals. I did watch a few LNER videos before I embarked on this trip, and I'm very sure there was a full English breakfast served on these morning services. So what happened here? I had to scan the menu a couple of times over to make sure I did not miss a page. But nope, it wasn't there. I found the headrests being randomly scattered about the floor beneath the seats a little bizarre. If you want to give us headrests, give it to all of us. Otherwise, store them away and we'd be none the wiser. Finally, parts of the cabin within our eyesight was just not clean enough, coated with dust, and it was obviously missed during the last scrubbing session. Quality control definitely needs to be tightened. Ultimately, the LNER provides a very fuss-free way of travel between London and Edinburgh. I struggle to find a reason to fly when this option is so convenient, linking you from one city centre to another. You depart and arrive at either side without the stress of all things associated with a crowded, chaotic airport. And trust me, Edinburgh Airport isn't exactly a paradise to be going through. The staff on board could not be friendlier, and the free Wi-Fi was quick to connect, worked very fast, and never once dropped out. So all in all, I'd highly recommend getting on the LNER if you ever need to travel between these two cities. For this first class ticket, I paid around 210 Australian dollars per person one way, and I'd happily do all of that again because of the conveniences involved. I guess it's now time to break into Scottish Gaelic and say Velchaku Elba and come around to prepare for our arrival into the absolutely incredible Edinburgh.
Hi guys, and so that was the LNER from King's Cross to Waverley here in Edinburgh, Scotland. So what did you think of it? I mean, I absolutely love the beautiful scenery out there, and I'm glad I took this train, got to experience it. So would you do this train journey? So let me know in the comments and let me know what you think. So in the meantime, I've chucked details of my Instagram on your screen right now. So hit me up there, chuck me a follow so you can actually see where am I traveling to in real time. And it also gives you an idea of the type of videos that will be coming up on my YouTube channel. So in the meantime, don't forget to hit subscribe and the bell notification icon, and I will see you for the next video. Bye!